I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, it's Lauren Kling. Welcome back to another very special non-Christmas episode of the Brews Brothers After Show. We have some special guests. Before we introduce them, let's say hello to my fellow guests. Hello, Eric. Hello, Alyssa.
Hi, Lauren. So excited to be back.
Thank
Hey
you.
guys, yeah, great. Just finished the show the other day. Can't wait to talk about it again right now.
Perfect. So if you guys out there have not watched Brews Brothers, we are probably going to give you some spoilers, and you need to watch the show and enjoy a beer with us for that very last episode, that episode number 8. Joining us today, though, we have two very special campers all the way from wherever they are. Let's say hello to Jeff and Greg Schaffer. How are you guys?
Hey, great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So perfect. So just if you guys don't know, or you're listening on our podcast version, we've got the brothers who created Brews Brothers, and we're going to talk about this show. First off, we got to let you know, watching this show made all three of us really miss socializing at bars.
Yes.
It was a little bit of an escape for us. We were like, I feel like I'm drinking a beer with them.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that. We even when we were pitching this show and started talking about it, one of the goals was just to make it almost like a beer commercial where you see a beer being poured and you just want that beer more than anything. And yeah, we never realized that people would also just want to be out more than anything.
Yeah, it was wish fulfillment, because who wouldn't want to own their own brewery, right? But now it's wish fulfillment just to be able to go to a brewery.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you guys filmed at the old Iron Triangle Brewery, which I had been to a few times. So one, it's always cool to see a hang on a TV show. Were you looking at other breweries, or did you kind of luck out landing on that one first?
I would say both. Yes. Part of the location scouting, it was such a pain to have to go to 40 different breweries and try to find out, and maybe have a sample at each one. And what, one thing we figured out about halfway through was it's very hard to shoot a television show with a working brewery because they make a lot of noise. A lot of breweries were happy to do it, but it's not like they were going to shut down all their beer production at once. And there's a lot of action.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate enough with Iron Triangle it was a big space, so it didn't feel so claustrophobic to always be on the same set, which wasn't a set, it's a real brewery, and it felt it made it feel alive and real. But the other thing is they were about to close, so we worked out a deal with them. We were able to shoot with them before that happened, so we could still make real beer, and we had people from the brewery helping us out, helping our actors go to beer school, which we talked about in a little more detail. But so it was really the best of both worlds. Everyone was great there.
And yeah, Lauren, they don't blame you 100% for them closing.
Well, I did once host a Disney themed quiz there, so I wouldn't put it past them to close just because of that.
They were being kind. You're 100%.
All right, so I got to ask you two, what are your favorite hangs, either in Los Angeles or anywhere, your favorite places to go hang out to have a beer or a drink?
That is a fair question. There is, I do actually live very close to Van Nuys, where the show, where Rodman's is based. And there's an exceptional brewery there called McLeod's that also may happen to be near an auto body shop, and with some adult type stores maybe around the corner. And it certainly was a little bit of inspiration there. So I love McLeod's. They make great beer, and they're actually open now and have great pizza as well. Just to support, always good to support local brewers, especially.
Definitely.
Yes.
How about you, Jeff?
For me, I will go. There's a place. There's a place that I like to go for some of my favorite beers, which are from the sort of northern Italy, and they're called Amarones, and they're wine. and and so there's a great wine bar. I'm gonna get killed. Greg's like, shut up, stop it. And here's the thing. So I didn't know as much about beer as Greg did going into this. Greg knows a ton about beer, but I was like, some beer is fine. I always Guinness I liked, and I liked other things, but like Greg actually doing this show taught me that there are some amazing beers out there that I'd never even heard of. There was like, and some of the things in the show, like the quad, the quadruple, great beer. And before Greg introduced me to it, I had no idea.
Yeah. By the way,
Right.
if we were doing a show about a winery, he would be talking about his brewery right now. So,
Yeah, we definitely talked about that during one of the episodes about the idea of people who are the sommeliers of wine versus the sommeliers of beer. There was a great line in there.
Cicerone.
Cicerone.
That's right, the Cicerone.
Yeah,
And
Cicerone.
we promised each other that once quarantine was over and we could go hang out at a bar, Eric was going to drink his crappy 5 beers for $15, while Alyssa and I enjoyed craft beers made with love, not for the buzz of it, but for the enjoyment. But we never heard Jeff's location. Where is this secret snooty Beverly Hills-esque Rodeo Drive place you don't want to tell anyone?
No. By the way, there was I see the Augustine on Ventura is a great.
It is fantastic.
Great wine bar. It was a guy who he was somehow in the music industry, and he just had this huge wine collection, and then he decided basically to open a wine bar. And there's this with a great sommelier too, and they have the oddest and neatest things that you wouldn't see anywhere that you can have by the glass or have by the bottle.
Okay, but I'm putting my foot down. No more wine talk.
All right, no more.
Talking about beer here. Yeah.
This is a beer after show.
Okay, we're all right. It is a beer after show. All right. When you two were growing up in Ohio, correct?
Yes.
What were your favorite TV shows as kids?
I mean, we used to watch there was the cartoons, right? After school, you come home and watch like Scooby-Doo and those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I loved Monty Python, which you could sort of get from a station from Pittsburgh. It was on like at these weird times. And then we would watch all the Monty Python movies.
Yeah.
So
Definitely early on when we were younger. Yeah. I feel like I have fond memories much later of Cheers, but it may just be because beer has been such an important part of my life now.
So let's talk about that. Beer's been an important part of your life. What do you think got you to that point? Was it drinking with friends in college, or did something else, or was it basically this show?
Oh no, that is a fair point. Yes, I think like many of us, colleges can awaken the beer drinker in all of us, and it certainly started there. But I think something that's just happened, and where the genesis of the show idea came from is craft breweries have really become today's bars, and not just in LA, all over the country, and it's just amazing. And I felt such a connection to that just in going out locally, and then also doing research, like going up the California and Oregon coast on a family trip where my family realized about halfway in we've gone to 7 breweries, and that there may have been an ulterior motive. So I think beer has definitely been. It went from something that was fun to then with the craft brew industry really taking off in the last 15 years to something that I'm just such a fan of, and also thought was an area that's just ripe for comedy, because you used to go to a bar just to have a few beers and get drunk, and now you go to a bar and you have to listen to someone pontificate about the apricot notes in the they're drinking.
Yeah, so I want to hear from Alyssa and Eric. What made you love beer, or what do you think it is about just drinking, socializing with friends, and having a drink?
Well, I have a question actually. We noticed a lot of the beer names on the chalkboard and how they would sometimes change. So I have a question about, how you guys came up with those beer names, and what it was about those ones specifically that you guys like mentioned in the show and then wrote and changed out on the chalkboard.
We had a big list. We generated, I think this is early on before we started shooting, we had we started just generating, and we would keep this rolling list of like beer names. And some of them were supposed to be stupid Wilhelm names, like just bad. And some of them were supposed to just be just fun to read. And some of them just highly technical for Adam. And so we would and Greg was very adamant. He wanted to change that all the time.
Yeah, just to show kind of the passage of time. And also it's funny with beer names, like even some great breweries and some great beers can still have just horrible or cheesy names. And I mean, it's amazing. It's almost hard to compete with the real thing. But we did have fun with that, and certainly tried to do a little bit, just because the brewery itself was meant to have a German and Belgian slant. So we certainly focused on that as Will kind of got away from his initial more sexual sounding ones.
But, I mean, when you do look at real breweries, Greg's right. It's like pun names have become almost as important to the craft brewery arena as it is to the children's haircut arena or the doggy daycare arena, where everything must be an awful pun.
Right. And we know from Bob's Burgers how important all of the puns are in the show, so much that even people started creating burgers and created a cookbook based on everything that was on the chalkboard in each episode.
We also, by the way, we also had a thing up there. We didn't really feature it this time, but maybe next time. There was at McLeod's, the brewery that sort of Greg took inspiration from. There was a thing where you could buy someone else a drink, right, Greg? So like,
buy a friend a beer. Or you could always just leave it up there, and it's a great idea. And yeah,
we had this there too. So they'd be like, if Noam Chomsky ever walked in, he would have
there are lots of little Easter eggs there.
Like buy a beer, leave a beer kind of thing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Leave a growler, take a growler.
No.
Yes. It's funny how when you're watching the show, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. But I'll bet a lot of the situations the characters were put into are based on your lives and or the lives of the writers. Did you find it easy to write based on real life experiences?
There's two things going on, right? One is this is the story of a brewery, and the other is it's the story of two brothers. So for some of the brother stuff, I mean, I think Greg has used this show brilliantly to work out some of his issues with the brother.
Can we elaborate on that?
I don't know
a little bit?
Okay, you want to elaborate? I'll elaborate.
Yes, please.
Let's just say that some of the fraternal flashbacks are too real.
Here's the thing.
Are we talking about the wetting the bed one?
Yes. So, like when we were younger, I would sneak into his room, just peel back those covers, pee in his bed, put the cover back in. And so, yeah, Greg thought he was an 8-year-old bedwetter. And by the way, you put it in the show. It's so funny. So all I have to say to that is, you're welcome.
All right. I got to say, out of the three hosts, I am the only one who is the baby of the group. My brother's name was Greg. We also had bunk beds, and I also had a pee wetting problem. And it makes me wonder, was it really my problem or not? So already I like Greg more just because of the fact that he and I share the common bond of older brothers who think they know more than they really should.
I'm so sorry that we're isolated now. All I want to do is go to your house while you're asleep and pee in your bed.
We'll start a Patreon or a Kickstarter campaign to see if we can make that happen.
We can get this going.
Eric, any questions you want to ask these two?
Yeah, so my favorite character in the whole show was Truffle. Anytime Truffle was on the screen, like I just had a great time with him. So my thing for you guys is, how did you come up with like such memorable characters like Truffle, and then we had Becky and Elvis in the kids menu truck? So just how did you guys have a lot of inspiration for them, or are those all just original people as well?
Great question. I mean, I will say, like, the one thing, even with the main actors or with Flula and with Anana and Zach, is like we're really hoping for the actors themselves to be value-added actors that bring something else to it, and all three of them did. They were just amazing. When it comes to the Flula character, Truffle, in general, like, yes, we needed one voice of the Trappist monks to kind of represent what we were going for the monks in general, to be like this, you know, just imagine the worst fraternity ever, you know, and but you know, a fraternity that if you didn't, if you took dating the opposite sex off the table, what they'd be like, and you know, Truffle is just kind of the peak performer of that.
Yeah, he's
So
great.
Flula was so funny. I mean, it was like, oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna write this part for Flula, and he's gonna knock it out of the park, and this is gonna be fun. And you know, there, like Greg's saying, there's a lot of improvising, and then he's also improvising in German, and we had the you know, Netflix goes everywhere in the world, and Legal came to us and they said, hey, can he translate the things he's saying in German so we know like what he's saying? So he had to go
He was a little
back.
surprised he had to do that.
He had
That's
to go back and
perfect.
look at the stuff, and like he realized that like every sixth word was scrotum, and he's like, I gotta,
Yeah.
I need other areas. I'm falling into a
Apparently
scrotum
my-
when I'm
my-
improvising in German. We're like, that's okay, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had talked about during the series that there's always in a lot of shows that one character that we relate to, kind of the straight person. And I was feeling like a show like this and a show like The League. Did we talk about Becky? Was it Becky or being kind of the
Sarah.
straight
Oh,
yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, that's
Sarah.
right. Sarah being kind of the straight person, but she's less so in this show than a lot of other TV shows. So
I don't think you need to have a total straight person. I don't think the shows have to have someone who isn't funny to like get some sort of point across. Like even the most stick in the mud still has interesting things about them. Like I think the job is, that's the easy way to have someone just go, hey, no, you can't do this. And it gets boring and no one wants to play that. So I think we worked very hard to round the people out, like, which basically is the fun part. Everyone has flaws.
Mhm.
Everybody has flaws, and or quirks or weird things. I think that's much more interesting. You can still have someone who's very weird, but they can still bump up against someone else who's very weird, right? Right? It's just like it's what people care about, not
Yeah,
that.
no, but that being said, I mean, just because it's a business too, like we did want to have someone that at least had a little bit of their shit together, you know, and certainly Sarah has that, but then we wanted to give her other flaws, you know, that you see as the season progresses, where yeah, so she's not perfect.
Yeah, she has a very bad temper.
yes.
She likes beating people up.
Yeah.
So, but everybody, I don't know. I guess that's one of the things I never liked about shows when I would watch. I never liked watching just a show that had somebody who was like just normal. I just thought that's sort of a waste of space.
Interesting. Eric, Alyssa, any other questions for these two?
So me, I guess being a girl, Will and Sarah, I felt like there was sometimes like a little bit of like maybe do they like each other more than just close friends or not? And I was just wondering if that was something that I was right that I kind of picked up on.
Yes,
And if
I'm
we'll
glad
see
you-
that develop.
Absolutely, but we wanted to do it at the slowest pace possible. I mean, the whole boss employee thing should be weird. She's young, but he's young too, and she's actually much more mature than he is. So,
I
yeah,
know, but then she's really young.
yes,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's like she clearly, look, they work together. They're in the trenches together. She clearly has feelings for him. But when he, you know, it's a really complicated, sensitive thing. When she offers it up a little bit and he's like a little weird about it, and then she just goes into a shell, right? She put herself out there just a little bit, but even that was like humiliating. So it's going to take a little bit to get them tentatively working towards each other again, but very astute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, you've worked with your brother. You've worked with your wife. Are Are you planning on working with any other family members, or do you find it easier or more difficult to work with people you're that close with?
Well, my dog has an idea.
Pitch it. We want to know. We want to hear it. We want to produce it.
It's a lot about having lunch 4 times a day. I'm not. We'll see.
It's not Friar Lucas.
Oh, Friar Lucas.
No, I think it's really about the shows that you get interested in. Like, the League was an idea that Jackie had from watching the Idiots in Our Fantasy League, which Greg is a member of. And I was like, oh, we should definitely do this as a show. And I was like, oh yeah, I know this rule. I can do this. And when Greg brought this up, it was such a, I don't know, like Greg, it's like the craft beer movement. I mean, everyone in their dumb uncles telling you about whether their beer is hoppy or not, or it's enough. And it was a really fun chance to do a brother story in a very non-traditional way.
So are there similarities to, I mean, we're kind of sensing it between Adam and Will and you, Jeff and Greg?
Oh yeah.
Let's just say, when Greg told me the idea of the show, I was really interested, and not just because the arrogant asshole older brother was an homage to me. There were other things that interested me too, but that definitely, I loved that. It's so horrible. I loved that character that was making fun of me. What does that say about me?
You're self-deprecating.
Yeah, exactly. How can I be arrogant and self-deprecating at the same time? It's possible. So
and I wanted to do a show that let the world know about, that I was an 8-year-old bedwetter. So
the character of like Adam and like, oh, God, he's such an arrogant prick and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. And then like, wait, are you talking about the character? Or you're talking about me? And then we would get in arguments on set. You always get in arguments on set with whatever. And so Greg and I, because we're brothers, would fight like brothers more. And then you'd see the actors playing, Will and Adam watching us, going like, oh, that's what it's like. It's like, oh, you don't need to see this. Get away.
Getting a little bit more inspiration for you guys.
Like, you don't need to get inspired right now. Go to Crafty.
So both of you have worked on a lot of TV shows. Seinfeld, Curb, Dave, Tracy Morgan, Mad About You. And I notice with a lot of the network shows, you have to go through testing. You have to test the shows. Are people going to relate with the characters or not relate with the characters? How does it work with Netflix, and in particular this show? Did you have to do any testing? And if so, did you get any weird comments?
No, we pitched them the show and they said, go make 8 of them.
No, it's been a dream in many ways. I think that's the one of the beauties of having a place like Netflix is they really allow you to do the show you want to do. And it's been just incredibly liberating, I'd say, because we got to cast who we wanted and bring these great funny actors and see what they come up with. And I mean, we certainly pitched the whole area to them, not just a pilot, but no, it's been
they never said, oh, you need to get a big name for this, you need to get a big name for that. They didn't care about that. They said they knew we wanted really funny improv actors. They said, go get them. And part of it's, the way Netflix lays out, you don't need the name draw. It's a different thing. You're not trying to get someone to tune in Thursdays at 9:30.
Yeah.
The show is and it's been strange that way. Like, the marketing's different and all that stuff is different, and having it all come out at once is different. But the process of it, where they basically just said, here's how much money you have, do what you want, get the show made, and and make it laugh.
Got it.
Going along with that question, were there any ideas you guys had for the show that Netflix said no, you guys couldn't do it, or did you guys really just have free reign to do what you guys wanted?
No, I don't think so. I think we may have self-selected some. We're just like, no. But some of them are just like, not yet. We'll do them next time.
Yeah, so I think more of it was, let's let people get to know the characters a little bit more. Or
that's what it was. That's
or we need to be at the brewery as much as possible this year, and there may be some things we'd like to do outside a little bit more, but they didn't even they did not care. They were
That's
very
amazing. Yeah.
There were a few things where it's like, oh, you're doing this is a really aggressive joke. You should definitely do this joke, but don't do it like in the first 5 minutes of meeting this person. Like it'll be funnier once people know who they are, and that which turned out to be true. Although there's still
There were some
plenty of
great
jokes in the first 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, one of the episodes we talked about was the white supremacist episode. How in watching that episode, it was like, can we laugh? Should we laugh? But stepping back, I have to ask, what was the idea for that episode?
Well, we wanted to show a little bit of just the success of the brewery, and that it wasn't a straight hill up, but it was a little bit of this. And just when you think a beer is becoming more and more popular, well, maybe it's not for all the right reasons. So we really were just kind of talking about, well, what are the worst possible people we could have like one of their beers, and then tie it into something that Will innocently does, which is name things horribly. So that's where the genesis of the idea came from. And then it's too on the nose to just make them bikers that are white supremacists. So we found a little twist.
Got it. Interesting. All right. So we just have a couple minutes left. I do want to make sure the only TV show you two mentioned that you like is, Jeff, you said Scooby-Doo, right? But I want to.
That's very no. By the way, Alec and I once did we did a pilot with the Bare Naked Ladies where they drove around in a van and solved crimes. And really funny. But anyway, no, I would say it was, Monty Python. I grew up really, I will say, I grew up pretty much hating most sitcoms that I watched.
And yes, kind of like the character of Adam, and me, like Wilhelm, I liked everything. I'd watch anything, but Soap way back when, to Cheers, to
Right.
Yeah.
Do either of you watch reality shows now, or are you just strictly scripted?
Southern Charm.
Really? What is it about Southern Charm, Jeff?
I don't know. It was just, the first season, they were so unabashedly unaware of the camera. And that guy whose name is escaping me, it was so dumb. And the one who's now went to jail, or the cocaine addict, what's his name? Anyway, just the way he would pontificate. I don't know. It was amazing. It's like they literally, everyone I think is so aware of the cameras now. These guys didn't seem to be that aware of the cameras. And there was something really endearing about that. How many feet they could shove in their mouths.
How about you, Greg? Any guilty pleasures on TV?
When it's on, Family's on, I'll watch your Chopped, I'll watch a Queer Eye, but it's not, normally it's not my cup of tea.
Got it. All right. Any last questions or thoughts, Eric or Alyssa?
I would love to hear both of your favorite names for any of the beers that were at the bar, if you guys have a personal favorite.
There was one in that episode 7 where Adam says it as an aside, and he just goes, when they say Weiss Power, white power, and Adam goes, "Oh man, you got to stop naming those. You got to stop naming those beers." And we're throwing out all of your Schwarzerdong stout.
It's a throwaway, but yeah. I like that, and probably just the Tears for Fears reference. Stout, let it all out.
Yeah, that was a good one. Alyssa, anything else you want to jump in with?
Yeah, I guess just to end, what someone watching the show, what do you want their takeaway to be?
I think, especially right now, it should be, hey, we wanted to make a show that was funny, that was just someone could sit down, watch, drink a beer, and laugh. And this show is that. It's like, if someone's, for whatever reason, I can't even imagine why, having a bad day, week, or month, year.
Yeah.
Like, this is something you can just turn on and just laugh. It was built to be funny. It's built to go down easy, and also call your friends. Everyone should drink together alone, or drink alone, I should say. Yeah, we'll make a drinking game out of it. We promise.
And I'd say, for me, it's like right now, Jeff and I, we are not we're not healthcare workers, but unfortunately, all we can do right now is this thing we've done. It's great that at least, you should try to get some exercise every day. You should try to laugh every day. And my goodness, if we can do any of that with this show, then, put a smile on someone's face. That's great.
Very nice. All right. Well, thank you again, Jeff and Greg, so much for joining us. Are you on social? If anybody wants to follow you more, is there some way they can do that on the interwebs?
I am not. I stopped doing that a long time ago, and I realized I didn't care enough about people to tell them what I was eating.
Okay.
We do have Rodman's Brewery is actually a great place to.
Really?
At Rodman's Brewing is a little Twitter account right now that's just started up. That would probably be the best place to.
At Rodman's Brewing.
Wonderful. All right. Well, from all of us at AfterBuzz, thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Alyssa and Erica. We love the first season. We hope there's additional seasons, and we hope we can watch them together at a bar. For everyone at AfterBuzz, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
That was fun.
It was.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.